Research in distant worlds universe. What is it and how does it work? Let's talk about that today. So, research can all be accessed from right here, this little button. Which, by the way, I will mention, research, all these technologies are by default tradable with other nations. Let's start with the Research Stations tab. This defines how quickly you research. See all these numbers? What do they mean? Well, let me show you what they mean. If we select any tech, we hover over it, you see a project size right under there. I see it right there. 240K, 120K, 60K. Look at the research stations. What do? We got 100K, 150K, totals of 700 and 994. This is the amount of research that you can do, and you can use this to gauge what size of projects you should be allowing yourself to efficiently do. This is determined by a mixture of your actual base values, determined by the different research facilities you have. These can be dedicated research centers or even spaceports that have the correct modules associated with them. They can also come from characters like scientists. You can get modifiers. You can also get modifiers from having wonders built. Wonders that can only be built one at a time. You can have them built, and even other buildings, actually, that may not necessarily be wonders, can contribute to it. You can see everything contributing to your total research capacity here. Even our race and our government type are contributing to our research capacity. Now, there are three different sections for research. We have weapons. This is where all of your military-focused techs will go. It's not just weapons, there's other things as well. Energy and construction, this is where we have stuff like your power generation, your shields, your hyperdrive and thruster technology. We have the ability to construct stuff in general, collecting energies, mining things. High-tech and industrial, we have things like countermeasures, targeting other ships. We have scanners, we have colonization, troop and cargo transport, things like medicine, further research advancements, governance for expanding your empires, things like that. That's what's spread across these different little bits here. To start researching something, you merely need to click on it. So click, now it's researching. However, this is not researching first. See this number 2? That's because EMP blasting over here was already researching. I can just queue things up by clicking and clicking, and then I can right click them if I need to unqueue them, get them out of the research list. The further you go to the right, the higher the project sizes end up becoming. Something to note. Things to the right are harder. You cannot research everything. Some things will be kind of like crossed out like this because they are specific to certain species only. You do not have to go the whole game without these. If you can manage to purchase them from the relevant race, then you can get access to them, but you cannot research these yourself. These are bonuses for races to have research that is specific to them, but it's usually equivalent to something like this is equivalent to something we have, I think, under construction here. Yeah, we have another one, robotic repairs. This is equivalent to damage control, for example. It's just a better version of the same thing, and you can get its peak earlier, and its peak is still better. These three categories research independently of each other, and as we've seen, they have their own, well, category of research capacity available to them to determine how fast they research. You can get really far ahead due to a lot of bonuses in one of these categories, yet still fall behind in others. When it comes to what to research, well, under energy and construction, getting better construction is always really, really important. Very important. Early in the game, depending on what kind of a start that you choose to go with, you might actually need to research hyperdrives yourself at the beginning of the game, but certainly that's important to get. Getting better research, which is down here in high-tech and industrial, is a very, very important thing, as is the ability to colonize more things. However, this can be bypassed by just getting different species in your empire, potentially through colonization already, but potentially through taking them over. In weapons and for pretty much everything else, it's important to note that you don't need to go for everything. Like right here, everything on this line will take something like 480k project size. You don't need to get everything. You can just pick something. Eventually, you might need the other things. So here's a good example. If you go down blasters, you, after efficient blasters, can pick, do you want to go long range with your lasers or high power, high damage? You get to choose that. You can even go for phasers instead. However, if you do go for the lasers, the high-powered lasers or the long-range ones, eventually they will combine into advanced beams that you can get, which is like the middle ground. Or you could just continue going down their specializations, or go down phasers, which is its entirely own new thing. Still, eventually it will lead up to something like super beam weapons where you need some amount of spread. But as you see, while you're developing, there are choices to be made. And through the playtime of a game, you might not even get to the end of the skill tree. You may never need to reach these. In that case, you could just go right all the way through high intensity lasers, for example, just really long range stuff, and that be the max amount of lasers you ever get. You're not necessarily going to use every type of weapon and armor on your ship. You're not necessarily going to use every type of hyperdrive, every type of shield. You're not necessarily going to use everything. So I would pick and choose based on what you want. Every specialization has something that it's good at. Usually there's an efficient middle ground, but then there's also specializations that go either way, separate to what they will eventually lead to, which might require a combination of them. However, those are my suggestions and my explanations. Research is really quite simple in this game. So I hope this video was helpful to you. If you want to see any other guides, feel free to leave those suggestions in the comments below, as well as if you have any questions that I have not answered. If I cannot answer them, hopefully somebody else will be able to answer them for you. If you check the description, I have a playlist on this game. That's where guides on this game are going, if you would like to see if I've already made one that you might be interested in seeing. For now, though, thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.